Williams was docked a point and then a game by Carlos Ramos over a row sparked by a warning for coaching. The 36-year-old eventually lost to Naomi Osaka 6-2, 6-4. In addition to questions over Ramos' decisions, there has been debate over Williams' charge that she had been a victim of sexism from the chair. Former French Open champion Barker told BBC Radio 5 Live, "As far as the rant goes, I think the umpire was following the rules by the book, and so that is harsh." Related articles, but Serena in some ways has a point in the fact that I've sat courtside watching the men ranting at umpires and they haven't been given a violation. Both have a point. Serena is saying the male players can say what they like to an umpire. Also, earlier in the tournament we saw Elise Cornet being given a code violation for changing her shirt on court. Then, in the same tournament, Mohamed Laghani gets off the umpire's chair to talk to Nick Kyrgios and persuade him not to give up on a match. Getty. Serena Williams called umpire Carlos Ramos a thief. Serena in some ways has a point in the fact that I've sat courtside watching the men ranting at umpires and they haven't been given a violation. Sue Barker. So, I think they have to look at the rules of what is allowed and what isn't, because I just think he was following the rules absolutely by the book, but sometimes the book has to be rewritten. You can't have one rule for some players, and some umpires don't adhere to it and allow players to get away with things. I think they just have to be fair to the players. Tennis was the loser. I wouldn't want to see it, but if it's coming to things like this, it's ruining the game. If they can't adhere to the rules, then they'll have to allow the coaching. I think the WTA, the ATP and the ITF have to get together. It can't be a gray area anymore, and maybe there has to be a supervisor that comes on to have the final say before you give a game away. Getty. Serena Williams argues with U.S. Open head referee Brian Early. Williams was furious when she was given a coaching violation early in the second set after a hand gesture from her coach Patrick Mouratoglou, telling Ramos she would rather lose than cheat. Former U.S. Open champ Andy Roddick tweeted that it was the worst refereeing I've ever seen, the worst, while Marty Fish, a former U.S. Open quarterfinalist, came out in defense of Williams, tweeting, "She wasn't even looking. Believe what you want." Williams was then docked a point for a second violation when she smashed her racket. Getty. Serena Williams was docked a point and then a game by Carlos Ramos. She then accused Ramos of being a thief for taking a point away from her and he gave her a third violation, docking a game. Williams said after the match, "For me to say thief and for him to take a game, it made me feel like it was a sexist remark." Former world number 1 Victoria Azarenka said, "If it was men's match, this wouldn't happen like this. It just wouldn't." Meanwhile, Billie Jean King said that Williams had called out a double standard in the game. Getty. Serena Williams lost to Naomi Osaka in the U.S. Open final. She tweeted, "Several things went very wrong during the U.S. Open women's finals today. Coaching on every point should be allowed in tennis. It isn't, and as a result, a player was penalized for the actions of her coach. This should not happen. When a woman is emotional, she's hysterical, and she's penalized for it. When a man does the same, he's outspoken.